All right. I think we are now live. Got a little bit of a late start with the technical difficulties, but we are here for a second week in a row. Live Me Up platform. I'm Nicolette. I'm going to be going over Dr. Clark's stores. Amazing protocols today. We have a lot to go over. We're going to go over a liver and gallbladder cleanse with the 2-day liver flush, as well as a heavy metal detoxing protocol, which is down here. I know it's a little hard to see all the products. I'm trying to get myself in it and the products. But as I talk about them, I will bring them closer to the screen here. And I'll always have it displayed, the item that I'm talking about, but you can go through the items that I have tagged within this live stream, some of which will be a vegetarian version of the liver cleanse. I also have this heavy metal protocol where you can, buy them as a kit together or separately. That is an option there. So I will have these products tagged on display as I'm talking about them. So the first thing that we're going to go over today is the Dr. Clark liver cleanse, or the liver and gallbladder cleanse, actually, I should say. And one thing that I mentioned last week, we talked a lot last week. We actually went over 3 cleanses last week. We went over the digestive aid, para cleanse, and kidney cleanse. And that is exactly the order you want to do them in. Or you can do, the first 2 at the same time, followed by the kidney cleanse. Because as you can see here on this Dr. Clark pamphlet, this is actually our liver cleanse protocol pamphlet that you will receive when you get this cleanse. It's really, really thorough. But on this very first page, this front page, it'll show you the different cleanses here and which one is recommended to do first and so forth in this order, down to the last one being the heavy metal cleanse. These last 2 are what we'll be talking about today. First, this liver cleanse, followed by the heavy metal cleanse. So we are, since looking at that in a chronological order based on the recommended order, we are definitely going to talk about the liver cleanse first. So this is going to be a 2-part cleansing protocol, and it comes with some loose leaf tea here to make your liver support tea, which is going to be the first part of this cleanse, and then the 2-day liver flush, which is part 2. And this is one of the most fantastic cleanse protocols of Dr. Hulda Clark's, and you should, just note that there's going to be some disclaimers I'll be going over later of when you don't want to take this cleanse, so stay tuned for that. And you always want to follow these directions of the protocol to a T as best you can. Of course, unless otherwise recommended by your healthcare professional, maybe they have more of a tailored schedule for you, depending on your circumstances. Everyone is different, but this will be a very, very thorough protocol instructional pamphlet here that you'll receive. Now, I'll go over a lot from this pamphlet today, but I won't go over it all. We have a lot to cover, but I will say it tells you a lot about how to prepare this tea. Also preparing for the liver flush in general when it comes to your diet, different supplies that you might need in addition to everything included here, and how to just get organized and so forth. And then it'll also go over extensively what that 2-day flush will look like. So it'll go over day 1. It gives you very, very thorough time frame there, and day 2 as well, about what to follow when, and what to do when, what to eat when, what capsules to take when. So this is a very thorough protocol here. But without getting too far ahead of myself with the, instructions of the protocol, Let's just talk about the liver and the importance of keeping it healthy. So, your liver is one of your body's main filters for detoxification. So, it works hard to make bile for fat digestion, breaking down hormones and store certain nutrients as blood carries nutrients and waste through your body. Your liver breaks down toxic substances that come from the diet, environment, and also skin absorption from the environment, as well as products we use, and just anything topically used on our skin, sun care as well. So everything you eat, drink, breathe, and absorb through your skin is filtered through your liver. So every day, our bodies are being exposed to harmful chemicals, and what your body doesn't eliminate ends up getting stored in various organs, including the liver. So when your liver is overwhelmed, your whole body ends up paying the price. So this is why this is so important to keep it in check. You feel really tired and heavy otherwise. You lose your vitality and your radiance, and everything just starts to trickle downward from there. So Dr. Clark's liver protocol contains time-tested natural ingredients that promote proper liver and gallbladder function by removing toxins and hardened deposits. So, the primary functions of the liver are detoxification, digestion, also metabolism, and storage, storing essential nutrients, including vitamins and minerals. So we're filtering with the liver here. We're removing toxins from the bloodstream. We're producing bile to aid in the digestion and absorption of fats. So there's so much going on in the liver's role. So where the protocol helps come in is addressing common liver challenges. So these are some different things that can affect or impair liver function, such as toxin exposure, like we already went over a little bit, daily exposure, harmful chemicals, from food, from water, and air, medications, personal care products. These can all overwhelm the liver, as well as poor diet, so high intake of processed foods, as well as unhealthy fats and excessive sugar that can also strain the liver. Also, substance alcohol consumption will, excessive intake of those things can lead to liver inflammation and damage, especially if done consistently over time. And as well as a sedentary lifestyle. Sedentary lifestyle means a lack of physical activity, which then can contribute to a fatty liver disease and just, once again, stagnation, leading to mineral deposits and things like that. So, different symptoms of a compromised liver can include fatigue and overall weakness due to the buildup of the toxins within the body, and digestive issues such as bloating, constipation, or indigestion, and jaundice. So, yellowing of the skin and eyes that indicates liver distress. And then we also have those very overt symptoms as well, in addition to jaundice, such as change in your elimination, such as dark urine and pale stools, which are signs of the bile flow obstruction. So I know this is a lot of information, and it might sound a little too TMI, but we're going to go over now why the liver health protocol by the Dr. Holder Clark is designed as a comprehensive regimen to naturally purge toxins and encourage proper liver and gallbladder function. So we have these all of these ingredients it comes with up here, such as the liver support tea, which is going to be the 3 packets you see here that you will receive. Oops. And this is going to be a blend of herbs that have been traditionally used to help with liver health, such as, so I'll read a few: white oak bark, marshmallow root, black walnut hull, which is in a lot of our other cleanses, protocols, and products. We also have mullein leaf and milk thistle seed, wild yam root, licorice root, skullcap herb. So that is, you'll get 3 packets of these: the hydrangea root, marshmallow, gravel root, So we have all kinds of good stuff in here for your livers, kidneys as well. It's going to help. And you're going to want to prepare this a certain way, which is all going to be within the instructions here. And by the way, you can access these on our website. So if you ever have any questions and you want to see all the information on the liver cleanse, you can access this exact PDF online too. You don't just have to wait until you buy it to receive it. So this tea is going to really help assist in detoxification and promotes healthy bile flow. And it's what you'll be drinking first before getting into the 2-day flush. As part of that 2-day flush, this is where a lot of our capsules come into play. We have our magnesium sulfate, which is also known as Epsom salt, and this is a dietary supplement composed of a mineral compound of magnesium and sulfate or Epsom salt in a tapioca capsule, and then this will help maintain ideal intestinal health, relieve occasional constipation as well, and help support relaxation of bile ducts, facilitating the expulsion of toxins, gallstones, and other mineral deposits. So this is essential. You're going to get 2 bottles of that in this kit here, and this also will come with some extra virgin olive oil, cold pressed, unrefined. So like I had mentioned earlier, you are going to need a couple of other additional things for this cleanse, one of which will be a grapefruit, because you will need some grapefruit juice, which you will end up mixing with the olive oil so that you can, as part of this cleanse, it'll just help it go down easier. And you're going to make the grapefruit and olive oil drink. So just keep that in mind. And I'll go over that in a second too, the additional kind of things that you might have to look at getting for this cleanse. But the olive oil stimulates bile production and aids in elimination of gallstones. Then we have ornithine over here. So we have ornithine as part of this cleanse. Now, Dr. Clark recommended the amino acid or ornithine in the course of the cleansing because it degrades ammonia in the liver, which is released when microorganisms die. And this is going to help during that die-off phase. This is going to also help you sleep. So you can really experiment with the amount you take from 2 capsules up to 8. And then that will be a good way to help you sleep at night if you're restless due to that die-off period. Then we also have our black walnut capsules over here. This comes with just a few here, but you will get the green black walnut freeze-dried capsules. There will be 10 of them in here, by the way. So 2 capsules is a serving. You'll have 5 in here for this. And this is going to be just a great combination of ways of herbs, of components to flush out toxins and accumulating deposits from the liver and gallbladder. We also have, a couple of other things like we have vitamin C and citric acid, which we explain in our protocol exactly how you're going to take these things during this 2-day flush. So that way it'll be really take all the guessing work out. So the citric acid is going to help remove more toxins, and this is going to be mostly black walnut whole you'll be taking a little of, but you'll mostly be taking the magnesium sulfate, which is why you get 2 of those. This is the extensive 2-day flush. So yeah, the combination of these components aims to detoxify. We're going to flush out toxins and accumulated deposits from the liver and the gallbladder. We're going to support and enhance liver function and promote efficient digestion and prevent and reduce the risk of gallstones and other related issues. So we're really trying to hit every angle here, from your liver, gallbladder health, and into your digestion, even your kidney health as well. So you want to really make sure that you're well prepared before you do something like this cleanse. And this is why it is farther down the line of our cleanses, because it's a bit more thorough, it's a bit more demanding. It is excuse me. It's highly recommended that you complete the parasite cleanse and the kidney cleanse before you do the 2-day liver cleanse, or 2-day liver flush, I should say. And that way, completing these cleanses helps to clear those channels of elimination. And if you do purge the toxins out of your liver and do not have clear elimination channels, you run the risk of recirculating toxins, and essentially this can make you ill and just backfire, not do exactly what you came here to do, which is detoxify, right? So this is definitely recommended to do after a few of our other protocols, especially the ones I mentioned last week. So you also want to start on a day that allows you to rest the following day is super, ideal, if you can, such as like a weekend, or if you have a break of any kind, or, like you getting a 3-day weekend coming up, maybe use that extra day for a rest in preparation for this cleanse. And you want to also prepare for a zero fat diet while doing this cleanse. So for best results, you want to stop eating fat and protein the night before you begin the flush. So there are going to be as well some supplies not included in this kit that you'll need, such as that fresh pink grapefruit I mentioned. 1 or 2, you'll just need at least half a cup of juice worth of it. You can also use lemon juice if a grapefruit isn't in season or hard to find. You also need a 1 pint jar with a lid. And, we have our olive oil, so that comes with this kit. But you might also want to get honey or some kind of natural sweetener, as well, which is optional. But those are just a few things that you might need to get on hand for this cleanse if you don't already have them. Now, let's see. There are some other things I want to say about this cleanse. It's going to make you feel so refreshed. It's such a good time to do a cleanse like this with summer right around the corner. Look your best, but also feel your best from within. Just feel more radiant and more vibrant, have more vitality and energy. And that's exactly what we want to do, not feel chronic fatigue and weakness and bogged down, right? So let's talk about how often should you perform the liver flush, which is a common question that we get. And this depends on the toxins you eliminate. So initially, you may repeat the flush at 2-week intervals if you would like, and this allows your organs to get enough rest in between. And then after your initial flushes, a quarterly or semi-annual flush will do. So cleaning your liver, this is something that we don't think about doing, but the fact is your body produces and eliminates waste every second. So this means that you can see your body releasing toxins in 4 different ways: through breathing, skin, kidneys, and the large intestine bowel movements. And your liver is the biggest and most important organ in your body and has everything to do with how you live. That's why it's called the liver. So, your liver condition can determine how long you will live and how well you will look and feel while you live. It separates those from surviving versus thriving when you have all of these organs within our internal body, including the liver, working in optimal order. So, what we want to do is just really think about like how we can best take care of our liver. So that's why it's important to do this liver flush. If you can, get 2-week intervals at first, and then bring it back down to semi-annually once you've gotten into a good rhythm with it. And if you're nervous about doing the liver flush for the first time, there are certain ways to just test some of these ingredients here, such as the magnesium or the Epsom salt. And in that way, you can take 1 capsule daily and increase the dose by 1 capsule per day until you are taking up to 15 capsules, because you will be taking a lot at, within this protocol. You can also, if you have Epsom salt crystals, take 1 teaspoon dissolved in 3/4 a cup of cold water and increase the dose daily by no more than 1 teaspoon until you're taking 3 teaspoons. So you don't want to take more than that. Um, and you can also test how you react to the olive oil. So you'll want to take 1 tablespoon of olive oil with 1 tablespoon of freshly pressed cold grapefruit or lemon juice. Increase the dose by 1 tablespoon daily as follows. And when I say as follows, there is going to be a chart here that guides you for testing with the olive oil and the grapefruit juice. So you can really just work your way up to, if you are sensitive, if you have sensitive stomach or sensitive to certain ingredients, that is definitely recommended. And there's a guide for that within this, which is really, really helpful and useful. So a couple of precautions, just wanted to go over this before we then move on to the heavy metals, because we are just halfway through our stream but got a little bit of a late start, so I'm running a little bit late with the stream, so we might go a little bit past noon today. So what I want to talk about, it's really important though, with this liver cleanse, is the fact that you don't want to perform this when constipated. You want to get the bowels moving regularly first, which is why we do recommend doing our other cleanses first, especially those cleanses for the digestive system, such as the digestive aid or the parasite cleanse. And then you'll want to definitely do the Dr. Clark kidney cleanse and liver support tea before you start the liver flush itself. That way, everything is moving efficiently. Our elimination channels are moving efficiently, removing any undesirable things, toxins, substances absorbed from the intestine as the bile is being excreted. So, here we also want to talk about, in addition to not performing it when constipated, you also don't want to flush when ill. Consult with your healthcare professional to get an x-ray, CT scan, etc. before doing the liver and gallbladder flush. If you suspect you have an obstructed bile duct or gallstones, get that taken care of first. And you'll also really want to follow the details in this protocol to a T. I didn't really go over them today, just a few things here and there, but everything here is laid out in detail when it comes to preparation in all the ways, physically preparing some of these ingredients, getting additional ingredients, preparing mentally, preparing your diet. We also have the 2-day schedule, exactly what that looks like with timestamps, which is helpful. So you'll want to follow the detailed directions in this kit to the best as you can. If you change the recipes, you may experience problems and challenges as the liver is quite sensitive. So that's why it's so important to follow the protocol to a T. And of course, if you do make changes, just make sure it's under the guidance or assistance of your healthcare provider. You don't want to take medications, vitamins, or supplements that you can do without as well during this flush. They could prevent success, and you just again want to make sure you check with your physician before actually stopping medications you're on. You might need to slowly wean off or find a plan to make that transition so you can clear the liver and take this protocol. And what I will say is that the flush is only for individuals over 18 years of age. And we don't recommend anyone under the age of 18 take this cleanse, or most of our protocols except for one. But this one is definitely for adults, and you don't want to take, if you're pregnant or lactating either, you want to also keep the cleanse items away from your children. Make sure you are able to tolerate that magnesium sulfate or the Epsom salt, like in the way I suggested, or they have suggested within this pamphlet. So that way you can avoid suffering a negative reaction. And there have been fatalities over Epsom salt overdose, so it's definitely serious to test those amounts first, those doses, just to see how you react to it first before going fully in. And if you experience initial symptoms of hypermagnesemia, such as nausea, vomiting, weakness, you'll just want to stop and continue use and contact your doctor. So, one thing to note though is that it is normal for you to experience getting diarrhea after taking Epsom salt. This is a normal reaction. In fact, you'll actually want to contact your doctor if this doesn't happen, because that would be abnormal. So, even though it's not pleasant, it is normal. So, those are the caveats, the precautions with this cleanse. There are like definitely a bit more, I would say, compared to some of our other cleanses. Yeah, not doing this flush when ill. You need to be at least of a certain age and off, preferably off medications fully, and there's certain tolerances that need to be checked. So it's very, very important to really understand exactly what you're you're getting into beforehand, knowing what your pre-existing circumstances are when it comes to your health, including any medications that you might be on either consistently or recently. Um, but again, like I said, you can access this whole pamphlet of the protocol on our website, drclarkstore.com, and you can also follow it, and understand exactly what that 2-day flush will look like, what you're going to need to do to prepare, and you're just going to feel so much better after when you get everything operated the way it needs to, because this is such a key organ that is responsible for so much, right? We got the detoxification, the filtration, metabolizing, storing proper nutrients. There's so much going on that it's very important to keep it in check, right? To keep it operating optimally, like a well oiled machine. No. So, what I want to do now is move some of these things, switch it out so we can now talk about and move on to the heavy metal cleanse, because we went over a lot with the liver cleanse. So this would be the next step after the liver cleanse, ideally. And that is going to be the heavy metal protocol. And that is our last cleanse, too, on our protocol list of the ones that we recommend. That is last on the order of all of them. All right, so let me put everything back here. And it's going to look a lot lonelier up here, but that's okay. So now we're talking about the heavy metal protocol. And once again, you can look in the products that I have tagged, but you will see that I have these tagged separately as well. If you do want to, for some reason, purchase just one, not the other, but you can get them together in the kit, which I will have displayed for the most part the rest of the time. Or I should say the time that whole time I'm talking about this. So the heavy metal gun and the heavy metal support. A lot simpler compared to everything down here. You get that with the liver cleanse. So what we're going to be talking about with this particular protocol is just detoxifying heavy metals from the body. We're going to talk about some common sources of heavy metal exposure, different kinds of metals, some you may have heard of, some not, and where they can come from. Because if it's any of the protocols that I've learned here with Dr. Clark's store and working for them, it's wow, there's a lot I didn't know about heavy metals being exposed to them, not knowing how much are in my body. And so let's talk about it. What even are the heavy metals? So, heavy metals, they are a group of elements that exhibit metallic properties and are characterized by relatively high densities, atomic weights and numbers, you see in science class, right? So these are really recognized, though, for their potential toxicity and even at low concentrations, and they do accumulate over time, especially at low concentrations. So some of the common ones include mercury. That's a big one. A lot of us may have heard of before. Also, often found in fish, certain fish, right? Like in salmon or fish high up in the food chain, like sharks as well. But also dental fillings and industrial emissions, of course. So the problem with mercury exposure is that it targets the brain, leading to neurological impairments over time. It can also affect nerves, the kidneys, and muscles, disrupting membrane potentials and intracellular calcium balance. So, exposure may result in bronchitis, asthma, and other respiratory issues, unfortunately. So, it's very serious to not neglect mercury exposure. Another one and common one that is known as lead. Lead, which is commonly known to be present in paints, old paints, contaminated soil as well, and aging water supply infrastructure. So, lead exposure can cause neurological damage as well, developmental delays in children, and various systemic health issues. So, really, really not good. We also have cadmium. So, if you haven't heard of cadmium, this is emitted from industrial processes found in certain batteries as well, and also present in cigarette smoke. So, this is associated with kidney damage, bone demineralization, and an increase of other cancers. We also have aluminum, commonly found in kitchen items, actually, like certain cookware and foil and other food additives, too. So, this isn't always classified or strictly classified as a heavy metal, but excessive aluminum exposure has been linked to neurological disorders and other health concerns, unfortunately. So it's important to note that, exposure to these metals can occur through various environmental and occupational sources. So this can include not just industrial activities, but also contaminated food and water in certain consumer products, those that just might be right in your home, in your bathroom, in your kitchen. In chronic exposure, even at low levels, can lead to bioaccumulation and pose significant health risks over time. So, understanding the sources and potential health impacts of heavy metals is crucial so that we can implement this preventative measures today and reduce exposure risks in the future. So, as I said, dental fillings contain mercury. Dental amalgam fillings, often referred to as silver fillings, contain a mixture of metals, including mercury. And, over time, these fillings can release small amounts of mercury vapor, which may be inhaled and absorbed into the body. And chronic exposure to mercury can affect the nervous system and kidneys. So, that is just one area. If you have silver dental fillings, it is a good idea to look into replacing them with different material. Fluorescent bulbs also contain mercury vapor, and when these bulbs break or are improperly disposed of, mercury can be released into the environment, posing health risks to those who come into contact with it. We also have personal care products, those like cosmetics and lotion, creams, and makeup. And of course, deodorant will have like aluminum. These regular use of that directly on the skin can lead to accumulation of toxic metals in the body over time, no doubt. Heavy metals can contaminate air, water, and soil through various industrial processes and environmental pollutants, agricultural practices. And those are the kind of things I think we all think of when we think of pollution. We think of the industrial processes, the smoke, and all of these heavy metals coming from there, right? But it is scary to think of it right in our own home through our kitchenware and our makeup and things like that, too. And us ignorantly choosing these products that are harming our bodies. It's just kind of scary to think about. So, lead found in old paint, water pipes, tobacco products, contaminated foods, certain kitchenware, cosmetics, electronics, and industrial emissions cadmium present in batteries, certain fertilizers, and cigarette smoke, mercury released in the environment through mining, production, and transportation. So, arsenic as well. This occurs through air, food, and water. Drinking water contaminated with arsenic is a major cause of arsenic toxicity in many countries. So, this is a lot. And shouldn't be laughing, but it's like a nervous laugh, really, because these metals can interfere and they will interfere with normal cellular functions. They can induce stress and disrupt metabolic processes, and cadmium exposure, for example, has been linked to tissue dysfunction and also potentially contributes to obesity and metabolic disorders. And I know I'm going over a lot here, so I'm going to introduce this in a second because it's a lot of drag. And what can we now do with the solution, which is the heavy metal protocol? But first, I just want to note some symptoms that you should take note of because these are the ones to look out for if you're exposed to heavy metals. Chronic fatigue, so persistent feelings of tiredness and weakness, even after adequate rest, is one of them, as well as cognitive difficulties, so memory problems, difficulty concentrating, and mental confusion. Digestive issues, again, this comes up a lot, but abdominal pain and nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and constipation can all be symptoms of heavy metal toxicity. Neurological problems, numbness or tingling in the hands and feet, muscle weakness, and coordination difficulties. So it's important to note that these symptoms can also be associated with other health conditions. Therefore, if heavy metal toxicity is suspected, it's crucial to consult a healthcare professional for proper testing and diagnosis. So, very much recommended specifically for this protocol to do that, because now I want to get more into the protocol itself. It includes these two, heavy metal gone, heavy metal support. So this is going to be a comprehensive designed regimen to facilitate the removal of toxic heavy metals from the body. And you're going to start with the metal chelating nutraceuticals from the metal Begone, heavy metal gone. This one. So this includes ingredients that grab onto metals to facilitate their excretion from the body, and it will promote the removal of those toxic metals. However, with that said, it will remove some other important minerals. And so you want to get that essential mineral replenishment through the heavy metal support capsules. And this will help replenish the depletion during the heavy metal purge and supports overall health. It balances those nutrient levels out so that you're still good to go, even while detoxing the heavy metals. So the combination of these components aims to detoxify and assist in the removal of accumulated heavy metals from the body and replenish and restore essential minerals to maintain optimal bodily functions and support and enhance overall well-being by reducing that toxic load that we're exposed to every day. So what you're going to want to do is we recommend first consulting with a qualified healthcare professional just to determine the appropriate length of time and frequency for the heavy metal cleanse. It is suggested to do it for quite a while. We're looking at about a 2-month starter program here, and it's recommended that you stay on the cleanse for a minimum of 3 months, actually. But depending on your heavy metal load, you may need to actually stay on it longer. So consult with your health care professional to determine the length of time and frequency that you should do the heavy metal cleanse, and just guidance on testing for heavy metals and incorporating other heavy metal removal protocols, such as the removal of those silver fillings, for instance, can be one of those things, which contain mercury. Now, what I want to also say is that it's going to be a 2-month starter program. So we're going to talk a little bit about what this protocol is going to look like. And we went over a lot of sad stuff about what to expect from it. I didn't even go over everything. But heavy metal toxicity has also been implicated in Alzheimer's disease, autism, behavior problems, joint pain, epilepsy, Lyme disease, kidney disease, cardiovascular disease, Parkinson's, paralysis, just all kinds of things. So that's why it's so important to eliminate these from the body. All right. So, and we're going to go over, after I talk a little bit about the protocol, we're going to go over 6 ways to get the most out of your heavy metal cleansing too. So essentially, step 1, what you will be doing, let me just see if there's anything I'm missing. Okay, no, I think we're good here. All right, step 1, you're going to start with the heavy metal gone. And I know this is like a 2 to 3 month starter program, and that sounds like a lot, but it's pretty easy to follow, actually. So what you're going to want to do is take heavy metal gone with a meal for the first 3 to 5 days. You'll take 1 capsule twice a day. If you're feeling well after day 3, you can continue to day 4 or 5. But if you have detox symptoms that are a little too much to bear, you can stop after day 3. And then, depending after day 3 or 5, whatever day, you'll then after switch to the heavy metal support schedule. So what you'll then do is take this with a meal twice a day for 3 weeks. And when you take chelating agents for the heavy metal remover from this one, you also end up depleting the body's stores of necessary minerals, which get expelled during the elimination process. So that's why it's imperative to replenish the lost minerals on chelating days, or I'm sorry, non-chelating days. And that's where this heavy metal support comes in. So after 3 weeks, you'll want to stop, and then you'll begin this schedule again with the heavy metal gone for another 3 to 5 days. And you'll keep doing that, just alternating between the two for, ideally 3 months, maybe even longer. But again, it's a great idea. It's recommended to just check with the healthcare professional about your particular schedule and length of time of how long you want to do it. So yes, you will be alternating. Think of it like it's a little less than a week of the heavy metal gone, followed by 3 weeks of heavy metal support, and so forth. So a few things that I want to say, that what you can expect when cleansing heavy metals, because I mentioned that after day 3, you might need to stop. And that's because everybody's body can react differently to individual ingredients in the cleanse and the overall protocol itself. So some of the heavy metal detox symptoms might be too much. And some of those could include some dizziness, gas and bloating, extreme lethargy, headaches, irritability, loss of appetite, muscle and joint pain, nausea and vomiting, and even skin irritation. So you want to start with small doses of the chelating agent, and that may help to limit some detox symptoms. So when I say chelating agent, I meant the heavy metal gone portion. So that is just something to consider. But now we'll kind of talk about the 6 ways to get the most out of your heavy metal cleansing, because chelating harmful metals and replenishing the lost minerals is good, but you can further your efforts by incorporating other protocols with the help of a qualified healthcare professional and some of these other things that we will recommend, such as eating a high fiber diet. Like, this is something that you can control on your end when it comes to the meals that you make at home. And dietary fiber encourages regular bowel movements, a primary system that allows the body to purge itself of waste and toxins, including these heavy metals caught by the heavy metal gone portion of this cleanse. So constipation may unfortunately increase the chances of reabsorbing metals before they are expelled, which is absolutely gross. So keep your bowels operating regularly by eating those high fiber foods like fresh fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. And you're also drinking plenty of water as well to encourage that further elimination as you go on. So along with that, you want to increase your antioxidants. And that is something that can be done through diet, of course, or supplementation. And antioxidants neutralize free radicals before they can cause cellular damage. And protective antioxidants are especially important when heavy metals are present because when metals react to free radicals, the result is creation of more free radicals. So upping your antioxidant intake becomes crucial as heavy metals are being coaxed out of hiding, if you will. So vitamins like A, vitamin C, vitamin E, and selenium and zinc minerals are potent antioxidants that you can consider taking in addition to this cleanse. And that's just something that can also help, as well as the boosters, MSM and NAC or cysteine. We also talked about this, but this one might be a little bit more complex for people, but it is ideal if you can help it. And that is removing your dental fillings, your silver amalgam dental fillings. As mentioned before, these contain mercury, in fact, 50% mercury. I didn't mention that piece. And they will continue to pollute your body with toxic mercury until they are removed. So seek out a dentist who practices biodentistry for non-metal dental work and safe removal of amalgam fillings. And you can also look at a biofilm cleansing. So regularly draw out heavy metals from the lining of your intestines. A biofilm is a slimy layer that is created by living microscopic organisms. And the living critters use sugars and proteins to make a biological home on places such as the teeth. And that's dental plaque essentially, forming like that thin layer of mucus. So when you have a healthy mucus lining in the gut, that provides moisture and has anti-inflammatory properties. So conversely, unhealthy biofilm in the gut interferes with nutrient absorption, and this protects disease-causing pathogens from antibiotic and antifungal remedies. Um, so this promotes inflammation and attracts heavy metals and other toxins, just things you don't want. So we want to break up the unhealthy biofilm structure, which requires proteolytic enzymes that break down proteins. And that is enzymes like bromelain, papain, pepsin, and protease on an empty stomach. So I know that's a lot of information, but these are just all going to be within, you'll get like a similar pamphlet for the heavy metal cleanse, and all of that information will be in there for you as well, by the way. So I know this sounds like a lot, but I'm going over, but it's really good, useful info to have because your heavy metals detox program can really be taken to the next level with these recommendations. And number 5 is just limiting your exposure. Very simple. Do what you can to avoid the exposure, whether it's from your environment, the products in your household. Start to look at the ingredients, right, in your products, the personal care products, your cosmetics, your deodorant, also your cookware, though. You also want to look at your diet. Stop consuming fish that are high in mercury, with high levels of mercury, such as tuna, swordfish, shark, higher on the food chain. You also want to filter your household drinking, bathing, washing water for metals, which is ideal. That will be very helpful to reduce future exposure. Chlorine and fluoride as well. So carefully scrutinize all of these things, especially in your direct immediate home where you're there primarily most of the time, if not 50% of the day, maybe even more. And if you can, try to avoid places with heavy air pollution too, though that's not always easy, especially for some of us who work in a busy city, or even in, farmland. There's this stuff everywhere. And then number 6, periodic cleansing. So cleansing heavy metals just once is not going to make you immune forever. Unfortunately, since heavy metals are so prevalent in our environment, it is ideal to perform this periodically. So that is suggested as well. So I'll just do a brief repeat of those 6 ways to get the most out of heavy metal cleansing. Not mandatory, but recommended. Eat a high fiber diet, increase your antioxidant intake, remove the silver dental fillings if you can, biofilm cleansing, limit your exposure to heavy metals as best you can in and outside the home, and periodically cleanse from your heavy metals. So yeah, a lot of those things are pretty intuitive as well, some not so much, some that go more into detail, such as which kind of antioxidants to take and things like that. But again, all of this is kind of said as a disclaimer because, first and foremost, you want to be able to check with your healthcare provider if this is even, um, you know, going to be the best option for you, depending on, you know, length of time you want to do it. That's also going to help. So it's gonna be everyone's going to be a bit different with their circumstances. But if you ever have any questions, so today we talked about the liver cleanse. We also talked to heavy metal cleanse. If you ever have any questions, we have a really cool feature on our website. It's a little chat and it looks like a little help chat, which it is. But what makes it really unique is that it's trained to give feedback to your questions or answer your questions based on what would Dr. Hulda Clark say or do or not prescribe, but what would she say based on her teachings. And this is trained based on her books, her literature, her research, and everything. So if you ever have a question, feel free to try that. That is such a cool feature. And of course, if you don't happen to get an answer from that you need, or maybe it doesn't always have the answer, you can always reach out to us as well and contact us. But this is a time to feel your best. Summer is right around the corner. It's basically, no, it's not basically, it is next month. It's less than a month away. Right now we're in June gloom, at least where I live. It's literally gloomy today. It was gloomy as soon as June 1st hit. It was super sunny the last day of May, and I only know that because I had actually, it might have even been, I know it was very sunny, like second to last day. But anyway, this is the time to feel good about yourself, but from the inside out. And by doing so with these cleanses for your liver, with the liver protocol, detoxing from heavy metals as well. So get yourself this liver support cleanse, get yourself the heavy metal cleanse, and do your body a favor today. Get it working optimally. Get your energy back, get your vitality back, and your radiance. And I know for me, there will be stints in seasons of life where I will feel like, why? And question, why do I feel so low on energy? I haven't done anything differently, I don't think, because I don't see it, but it's because I'm exposed to these things every day and my organs are just tired and need a break and need a cleansing. So I actually recently just finished up a few cleanses and I will be trying these new ones. I'm really excited to do the heavy metal detox. So that's going to be what I do next. But that is essentially all that I have for today. We have our heavy metal, we have our liver cleanse. Reach out if you have any questions about any of the ingredients here, a lot of which that you can also get and buy individually. We have our vegetarian versions of these cleanses. So to take a look at that. And you can also get the heavy metal protocol. You can buy the heavy metal gone separately and the heavy metal support separately if you absolutely wanted to, though do need them together when doing this protocol. So you can also buy our olive oil separate. You can also get our tea separate with that liver health tea. So but everything is recommended to do in a cleanse here first before you take these things and run with them. And always recommended as well to follow our protocols, instructions to a T, which you can access online, this exact PDF version, or just read on a web page. Just go under our cleanses section and find the one you're interested in. And you can take a look at exactly the protocol and what it entails in these instructions. You can even print this baby out if you want, but it is a little long. Okay, you guys, that is essentially it for me today. I will be back shortly. I don't know if I'm here again next week, next Sunday, but if not, have a wonderful rest of your week, and I will see you again next time.